Good afternoon and welcome to the African Heritage Diaspora Television, still the ultimate voice for Africans in the diaspora. My name remains Prince Tunde Adetunji. The history of international relations is traced back to the Peace of Westphalia of 1648. Of course, international relations has a long tradition of drawing on the work of other social sciences. Without international relations, the world is a vacuum. International relations connotes understanding, peace, unity, and also bridging the gap and building the bridge between the community, people, countries, and also the world at large. With me to discuss this at length today is the Executive Vice President and the Program Director of the World Affairs Council of Atlanta, Dr. Cedric Suzman. Dr. Cedric Suzman, you are welcome to this program.
Thank you for your kind invitation. This is a great pleasure.
Yeah, Dr. Cedric Suzman, you always look healthy, and we've been knowing you for quite some time when you are the director of the Southern Center for International Studies.
Correct.
And this is your terrain, this is your area of expertise, international relations over the years. Now, you are now the program director and the executive vice president of the World Council of Atlanta.
Yes.
Well, this organization, World Council of Atlanta, can you tell us briefly the mission, the mission and the goal of this?
Yes, certainly. And again, let me thank you for doing this interview. It's a great opportunity, and we've had a friendship over a long period. The World Affairs Council of Atlanta took over the public programming of the Southern Center for International Studies. Okay. And we decided to rebrand the name and be affiliated with the World Affairs Councils of America, okay, which is a nationwide network of independent councils. There are somewhat over 93 councils. Okay. And we were given a home and are affiliated with Georgia State University. Right. Through the Robinson College of Business. Okay. And they are supporting our activities and saw this as a great opportunity to deepen the outreach of the university and international area. Our mission as a council really is to deepen the understanding of world affairs on the part of people in Atlanta and the region, and to enhance the understanding and image of Atlanta as a city, of the state and the region, and also thereby to help the economic development of Atlanta. I think that's the international dimensions of Atlanta's activities are very important. It creates a huge number of jobs and enhances the well-being of all its citizens. And so we see this as a development role as well as a cultural role, and also an outreach of people to people.
Well, when you mention development and also bringing people together and also maintaining kind of understanding, it's really spread a lot of, broad knowledge. And if one look at international relations, one should talk about big organizations like United Nations, and also some other organizations that are also working on the broad perspective of international relations. Now, looking at the city of Atlanta, the city is growing, and international relation is one of the assets that takes this city to where it is today. Looking at the event of the Olympics of 1996, bring people here. And since then, the upsurge of the city reputation has been high. How will you describe your former institution, Southern Center for International Relations, and the World Affairs Council of Atlanta achievement since the inception of the Centennial Olympics of 1996? And what image has it carved for this city up to date?
Well, in a way, our role goes back much earlier to the mid-60s.
Yes.
With the predecessor organizations. And I think that our achievements have been to bring senior diplomats, ambassadors, foreign ministers, and indeed presidents and heads of state, former heads of state, including of many from Africa,
Yes.
To the city to address the people, to let their perspective be known, and thereby, I think, enhancing the international image of Atlanta. Atlanta is home to over 1,000, 1,200 actually, it's much more than that today, headquarters of foreign companies.
Yeah.
So they come and locate in Atlanta because they see it as a place where they can do business from and reach the rest of the community. You talk about the Olympics as
Yes.
a watershed.
Yes.
We go back even further than that.
Right.
The late Dean Rusk, our Secretary of State,
Yes.
former Secretary of State, came to the University of Georgia, and he devoted a huge amount of his time after that to building international affairs around the country and around the state. He would drive in his own car around Georgia,
Yes.
promoting international knowledge and understanding.
Okay.
Then in the 70s, the Coca-Cola Company
Okay.
moved its world headquarters to Atlanta
Right.
from an export operation in New York.
Right.
That was a great watershed
Okay.
of business for the city. So there have been landmarks. And of course, you haven't mentioned now the Hartsfield-Jackson International
Yeah,
Airport.
we come into that actually.
Yes, that's a big and important thing.
Well, I must say that there is a lot of kudos to the people in the arena of international relations for this city. And looking into the legacy of people that are shaping the international relations of United States as a country, and now hoping to bridge the gap and build a bridge and take United States values and ideas to other parts of the world. That is really a commendable effort. That look at this country. The international relations in United States has really created an asset that bring diversity of culture together, understanding of people, respect, then that also distribute entire potentials. What will you say to the international relations of United States right now with other parts of the world, especially with what we are witnessing?
Well, I think a couple of things I wanted to mention.
Yes.
Because I don't want to leave the subject of internationalizing the city of Atlanta without mentioning Ambassador Andrew Young.
Okay.
He played a strong role in my former organization.
Right.
And of course, as a mayor, he would joke that Atlanta is the only city with its own foreign policy.
Right.
But he understood that he needed to go out and reach out to the world in order to bring the world to Atlanta.
Correct.
And he didn't mind where these people were located, but he did want them here.
Yes.
And in the region.
Yes.
And he was a great Atlantan and with a great vision for that reason, and has continued to be certainly our ambassador not only to the United Nations, but certainly to Africa.
Right.
I think that the diversity of our population has grown so significantly since
Right.
I've been here over 35 years. I'm from South Africa. We now have 10 to 20,000 South Africans here,
Okay.
black and white South Africans. But there are hundreds of thousands of Asians from various countries in Asia, whether it's Korea or the Indian subcontinent or you name it. We have Latin Americans from all over, from Central America, so that Mexicans, of course, too, a very large population. It's changed the complexion of our country.
Okay.
And we have to recognize that, and we have to understand where these people are coming from. What is their heritage that they're bringing to our shores, and how does it enrich us? And I think, indeed, it is enriching us in many, many ways. So that I see as a very big change in the United States. Of course, our president, President Obama, also presents a very different image of the United States to the world. And whatever the political agenda, that's something different. But just as a person, he presents a different image.
Okay.
And is immediately accepted in his efforts to reach out to other countries.
Well, I think you mentioned a crucial point. Even before we look into the criteria of the 44th President of the United States, the effort of people like Martin Luther King, that has actually showered a lot of blessing into freedom, and also making people to feel okay. There is what we call parity. You respect me, I respect you. And I think that is also part of the ideal of international relations. Then the effort of Ambassador Andrew Young, then the effort of people like Jim Maddox, who was the chair of the Advisory Committee on International Relations, that have taken that particular organization to a level of spreading understanding for people that comes to the shore of America. Now, I am now looking into the sustainability of what these people have done. And therefore, the President of the United States, President Barack Obama, winning a Nobel Prize right now is also an indication of pure, unique, genuine international relations that he has built through his criteria of effort and also the image he has carved, the niche he has carved for this country. Now, with the situation in the Middle East right now, spreading the values and the virtues of democracy, and also the understanding of how people can work together, exercise their right, what will you say about the international relations of America to now make that particular area that is growing sustained for other parts of the world?
Well, I want to start with your early comments about sustainability of our international outreach, not only for Atlanta, but for the country as a whole. And I believe strongly that it depends on an educated citizenry.
Sure.
The average American must understand more about the global world in which we live and do business.
Yes.
And in order to do that, we have to focus on education. And we are an educational institution as a council. We are trying to deepen understanding for business people, for professional people, for the public at large that are interested. We are building a cadre of young leaders. We have a new young leaders group that is very active, because this is the basis for acceptance of all that we do in foreign policy. Without understanding, you're not going to get acceptance of our assistance in the Middle East or anywhere else in the world. So America is very much dependent on that. I think we are going through very turbulent times. That's an understatement. The turmoil in North Africa and in the Gulf and in the Middle East as a whole is a challenge to us because it's not simple. There are articles you can read about the differences. I mean, it ranges from a country like Egypt, which is 4,000 to 6,000 years old, and it's been an intact country for all this time. Even Iran is an old country. But Libya is a new creation by the Italians. It's cobbled together from different groups and people with different allegiances, and their problems are totally different, as it was in Iraq. These are artificial countries initially that are striving for national identity. And so we've got to first understand history before we start interfering or indeed helping, because we don't know how to help if we don't see the differences. And I would point that out.